Oh, hey, what's up? I know it's been a while, but yeah, I'm doing another comic book introduction. Now, earlier today I was reorganizing my comic collection because I'm getting more comics and I need to make room. And then I saw this, and immediately I was like, you know what? I'm willing to bet not that many people heard of this comic. So, let me get this out of the casing. Yeah, I always take real good care of my stuff, no ifs, ands, or buts. But anyway, yeah, it's the reason why I gotten this. Now, before I start with my story or anything, this is Razor. It was created by Everette Hartsoe, published by London Knight. Now, this is issue number 3, The Suffering, and as you already saw, this is the back of it. And as you guys already know, I always do this. I always like to, even though Everette Hartsoe name is on there, you gotta also give the people that helped out their credit, because it takes more than just one person to get things done or to make things happen. You always gotta be thankful for the team of people that helped along the way, to get their credit. Now, as you saw, it was copywritten back in 1995. And I can remember from way back then when I first bought this. At the time, it was actually brand new. I don't remember what year or what month or day, but I do remember when I was at the comic shop that used to be around me, no longer there, sucked. The guy was really cool though. But anyway, I went to the counter to pick up my order, and what was cool about him was I remember I was looking for a specific comic book. I don't remember what it was, and he was like, "Oh, if you want, I could look it up for you and order it for you." And I was like, "No, you don't have to do that. I'll get it when I see it." And he was like, "Oh, no, okay, not a problem." He ended up ordering that comic for me, and I was like, "Dude, you didn't have to," but he was really cool that way. Anyway, I remember seeing this on his counter with his brand new comics. It was like in between his brand new that just arrived, also the obscure interest, or like dark interest, whatever. But it was at the time new, and then I was like, "Oh, what's the story on this?" Because I never really noticed it or you know heard of her. What he told me, obviously, as y'all saw, made me purchase this. And I'm not going to talk about Razor right now. Let's focus on Everette. And if memory served me correct, Everette created Razor out of the fact that she had lost her sister. This was her way of mourning her sister, of memorializing the bond that she had with her sister, because I don't know what caused her sister to die or what caused her to pass, but Everette took all her anger, her sadness, her emotion, all her pretty much her amounts and time of mourning, and put all that energy into her creativity and created Razor, because this was her way of, like I said, memorializing, leaving a legacy for her sister. Because I mean, we all have lost someone very special to us, whether it's family members, pets, teachers, you know, idols, even characters, whether it's live TV or cartoon, anime, even comics, whatever. We all experience losses, and what we do or how we mourn, we each do it differently. The fact that she were mourning the loss of her sister by creating Razor, that automatically won me over. That was like, yep, I'm buying it. Like, it was, and he was serious. I mean, he told me. I looked it up, right there on the spot. Obviously cell phone wasn't that big back in the day, but he had the computer. And we went, we checked it out, and we read it, and like I said, I was like, sold. So, Everette, I mean, it's, the way I look at it is, it take a strong person to not only to deal with that, but to put it into a form of work of art specifically for that person. And I'm gonna say kudos for her, because seriously, that's awesome what she did. Now, on the character Razor herself, well, her name is Nicole Mitchell. Yeah, that's her. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm just gonna show you the first thing. I'm not gonna show you the whole comic, but I'm just gonna let you read this. Yep. And I don't know if I did this already. I probably should have, but here's another. This is on the very back. If you ever want to see more Razor or any other styling in their comics, yeah, there's. I never got Barbie twins, just to let you know. But then, of course, there's an advertisement. It actually says Origin, but believe it or not, this issue number 3 pretty much explains everything. Now, here's another thing I want to show you guys about this comic. Yeah, as you saw, they have blood, and they do not censor swearing. Yeah, and, well, okay, the action in this comic is pretty much like, imagine, what's the best way I can describe it? Imagine Wolverine in the center of the room surrounded by a bunch of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not like the group of villains are all attacking at once. They take their turn. It's that cliche fighting mentality from back then. It's like, okay, your turn to get killed. All right, now it's my turn. It's and most of the action is really dealt with within 1 or 2 punch or 1 or 2 moves. That's how it is in these panels. And as you saw, it's in black and white. But pretty much, the story goes, Nicole Mitchell is a drug addict. Well, she was a drug addict. She was pretty much a hardcore junkie. And the reason for that is because she had lost her mom. And it was only her dad and her sister that was still around in terms of family. Well, until she met Von Drake. Von Drake was more like her supplier, and he's the reason why she became more of a junkie. And he ended up, when she tried to stand up against Von Drake, he ended up killing the one person that she idolized, which happened to be her father. And then somehow killed her sister. But at the same time, she later finds out that her sister wasn't really dead. She just became one of Von Drake's henchmen or assassins, like he brainwashed her or something like that, or resurrected her, and now she's like her enemy, and they fought. It's a lot of, I know it sounds confusing or convoluted because this character is extremely complex. After reading this again before I did this video, because when I saw that, I was like, the memories. And then I was like, you know what, let me read it to see if I, still remember whatever. Yeah, I remember I was confused as shit. And I'm still whatever. But pretty much, as you can see, she has the, now you guys gotta remember, this was made in the 90s. Back when they try to make female heroines more like badass chicks. And obviously, they try to make her look more like Psylocke, from X-Men. As you can see, when I first saw this panel, I was like, oh, what's Psylocke doing here? But it's not. It's not. Yeah, in a way she died, but she came back resurrected, so it's like she's still alive, but somewhat, basically the enemy is Von Drake. And Von Drake apparently has powers, and some parts of this comic do go a little biblical. which is kind of interesting because pretty much discusses, like as you can see, this is her communicating with Von Drake, and it seems like he has some mental telepathy. So there's more, and as you saw, obviously she wears gauntlets that shoots out these razor blades that pretty much give her the ability to go around stabbing people. Like I said, it's not like, picture the Wolverine surrounded by Krillin. That's pretty much it. But Von Drake has some sort of control over her, even to the point where it makes her think like she's either hallucinating or is, in a dream, or is actually fighting for real. And not only that, but there's like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but all I can say is she's a junkie that's trying to become clean and fighting crime because she just pissed at Von Drake for killing her father, and in a way kill her sister. Even though he brought her back, trained her, and made her an enemy, but I'm repeating myself at this point, but and caused her to fight her own sister, so she obviously had more of a motive to go after Von Drake. And what make this issue, and it explained that very well in this issue, that's why I felt like, oh, okay, I don't need to, grab any others, because this one pretty much explained it all. How it ended, though, especially the fight, like I said, she's a very complex character to the point where you, the reader, is questioning. It's kind of like Pan's Labyrinth. When you watch that movie, and then when the movie ends, then you try to decipher the experience of that little girl. Were they real, or were they all hallucination? Were they all her imagination? Kind of like this. That's where I'm at after reading this again, and I think that's the same feeling I had back then. But not to take anything away, yeah, it is a decent read, and I like the way that they're not afraid to show death. They're not afraid to swear. It's like you don't see comics that do that nowadays, definitely, but definitely risque, but I would recommend checking it out, and I would also recommend checking out other Razor issues, because this is all in support of Everette. Now, I mentioned Rob Cohen. You see, Rob Cohen, from what I found out, is actually making a movie adaptation of Razor. So he's bringing Everette out from obscurity, because from my understanding, after the whole Razor comics, she just was like up and vanished or something like that. So she haven't really been doing anything, which is understandably reason why. But now he's doing a live action movie adaptation of Razor. And I don't think it's going to be one of those high budget movies, but it's going to be one of those movies that is based off the comics. And for those of you that are not movie buffs, that don't know Rob Cohen that much, or that name does not sound familiar, let me put it this way. You've heard of Vin Diesel, right? Yeah. If it weren't for Rob Cohen, you would not have heard of Vin Diesel. Let me put it that way. He's pretty much the major catalyst as to why Vin Diesel is such a big actor. That's just the way I see it. But other than that, I found out this news a while ago. Might have been a couple months ago or last year. I don't remember. But that's all I know. I don't know if the movie's out now. But I will say, definitely check out this comic, Razor. And Everette, like I said, it's really cool what you did for your sister. This is awesome. And I do, even though it's been years later, because this happened back in 95, my condolences, even though it's very, very late. But hopefully everything has been going good for you. And I do hope you do return. Maybe come up with more razors to pretty much make this more understandable, because it's kind of convoluted, but that's just my take. But other than that, definitely recommend you guys checking this out. Alright then, later.